This is something new that we are offering. It's quite interesting because they are actually cooling pieces. So it's like a picture frame.
Yeah, it looks like a painting. I wanted to say that.
Right now we are offering a 20% discount off the Reservoir collection for Renault Talk customers.
Hi, hello, welcome to another episode of 618. I'm Sabah from Renault Talk and she is
Serene Kwok from Bodega Living.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why she's here, very interesting story about her company and her products, right? Now, our guest mission is to offer a little bodega to every wine lover in the comforts of their very own home or office to have access to their favorite wines anytime, any day. Wow, that sounds like a company that some of my friends would love to work in, you know? Right, so thank you for being here, first and foremost.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, for the benefits of our followers who have yet to be acquainted with Bodega Living, tell us in your own words, who is Bodega Living?
Bodega Living is actually a brand that was developed in Europe by one of my co-founders. So what happened is that a group of wine-loving friends, they happened to come together and they were talking about, the humidity in Asia, how it actually sort of spoils their wines and so on.
Yep.
And it so happens that some of them were winemakers, some of them were sommeliers, and of course a few of our co-founders were actually consumer electronics specialists. So they said, why don't we come together with our resources, put them together and let's develop something that is really useful and is actually what wine connoisseurs would want.
So it wasn't a pre-planned initiative, it just came together over a conversation.
Yes, it was actually something that it sort of came together when they were having drinks and they were complaining about how some of them were not able to keep the wines properly and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you were kind of putting people according to their strengths, right?
Yes,
they get to play to their strengths.
Yes. And it's very interesting because each of them have different things to contribute. Like for example, the winemakers were saying, hey, you must make sure that people are not putting it in the fridges because it's so cold. And then the consumer electronics specialists were saying, no, we need it to be in a certain way that people can actually adjust the temperature and so on. So I think everyone has very good resources and putting them together for the benefit of wine connoisseurs. So I think it's a very good system.
So up to now, how many years has it been?
They have been selling Bodega in Europe for about 5 years already. Last year we introduced Bodega to Singapore.
Okay. So, and what do you hope to be known for in Singapore?
Well, I think right now we are already known for being the only company in Singapore that offers specialized or customized built-in wine cellars.
Okay. So, now, for the benefits of people who are getting acquainted to wine cellars, wine fridge, wine coolers, right? So why do we need a wine cellar? Why can't we store wines in fridges? Because they kind of give the same cooling capabilities, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess to answer this question, we have to look at the 5 factors for the ideal wine storage.
Okay.
First thing first is the temperature.
Okay.
You need a temperature of between 8 to 18 degrees Celsius for the wines to develop properly. So the temperature in the fridge is usually too cold for that. I mean, if you're storing the wines for a couple of days, it's definitely fine. But if you have very nice wines that you want to keep over the long term, you would want them to be in the proper storage. And besides temperature, there is also the humidity control, which is too low in the fridges. In our wine cellars, we kept a constant temperature of between 65 to 70 degrees percent. 65 to 70%, because the wine corks are actually living objects. So too high or too low a humidity level will actually damage the cork, and it will cause your alcohol to evaporate or the cork to rot and so on.
Okay, so the material itself is reacting to the humidity, temperature.
Correct.
Okay.
And also, you see that most of the wines are actually stored in very dark bottles because light is the number one enemy of wines. And in all wine cellars, even the interior LED lights are anti-UV. besides having the glass door that has anti-UV treatment, even the lights inside there, we make sure that there is no UV exposure.
So it's LED powered?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you store the wines in your fridges or on the countertop, then you're always having UV attacking the wines, and that's very bad for long-term storage.
Okay.
Yeah. So besides these three, then there is also the odors control, as well as the vibration. You know, each time you open the door, the wines will shake.
Wow.
And it doesn't allow the tannins in the wines to settle. And if you're putting your favorite wines in the fridge, imagine you have your favorite Mao Shan Wang durians next to it, what will happen, right? So you have durian flavored wine after a while. So you need a proper wine
So
storage.
that's how delicate it is, right?
It is.
To store and maintain that wine.
Yes.
Right? So, good. Thank you for running through that. And what would you say are the unique selling points of Bodega Wine Cellars?
Bodega Wine Cellars, we have two collections. One is the Reservoir collection and one is the Expo collection. The more unique collection would be the Expo collection, which is fully made and customized in Italy. We only produce when somebody places an order. Because we offer customized interior fittings. So let's say you have more Magnum bottles or you have bigger Burgundy bottles, we can actually customize the interior as well as the exterior frames and finishings to fit into your home interiors.
Okay. And so that's the customized version.
Yes.
But there's also like an entry level.
Yes, the Reservoir collection, we have them produced, and they are actually very suitable for even small homes like BTO or HDB and so on, because they fit exactly under countertops in your kitchen. They could go under your study counter in your office, or we have also the built-in and freestanding collection that goes into kitchen cabinetries, or they are good as freestanding units as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that it's suitable for small units, apartment studios, BTOs, because I personally have noticed that little wine shops appearing in malls that are in the heartlands.
Yes.
Right? Because if you were to rewind 10, 15 years ago, you would know that wines are normally sold in a more, what do you call it, shopping belt of Singapore,
That's
Orchard
right.
and all that,
That's
right? But now we are seeing it popping up. Recent one that I've seen was in Seletar Mall.
Right.
Right? So, and we know Seletar Mall is placed right in the HDB, at the heart of the HDB area around Sengkang, Fernvale area, you know, Jalan Kai. So it's interesting to see how the consumer patterns of wine consumption have
Yes,
evolved over
definitely.
time.
Wine drinking is now like lifestyle for the consumers, and it's not something that they need to, let's go get wine when you have something to celebrate, you know. Nowadays when people are gathering or you are just popping by over at a friend's home, everyone takes their wines out and so on, which is why we wanted to offer a little bodega in the comfort of, you know, the user's home, so that they can have access to good wines anytime.
So it's like, in a way, it's like taking away some of their best travel or wine and dine experiences into their homes, right?
Exactly. And we offer them a proper storage, you know, to store over long term.
And what's the price range that buyers can expect?
Well, the Reservoir collection prices starts from 1499 after discounts, and we have some promotions going on now. And then the Expo collection, depending on customization, they are usually about 15,000 and above.
So later on, you'll be telling us more about promotions, right?
Yes, of course.
So you stay till the end. There's some surprises waiting for you, okay? Now let's zoom in a little bit on the target customer, right? Okay. So for someone who might enjoy wine and he or she may be considering buying a wine cooler or wine cellar at some point, right? So what would be your tips for them to go about choosing a good wine cooler or wine cellar? Because they're getting started for the first time.
Yes.
They're probably none the wiser, right? They wouldn't know how to get started. So what would be your advice, kind of a cheat sheet for them?
Well, I would say that it's very tempted to go for the cheapest option, but then you really need to know what are the fittings or features that's available on the wine cellars, because there are models in the market that starts at $99. They are just like mini fridges, you know. It's just cooling and so on. But for a good wine cellar, and if you are going to keep wines over a long period of time, it's very important to take the 5 factors into consideration, which I was sharing: anti-UV, anti-vibrations, humidity control, temperature control. And on all Bodega wine cellars, we offer dual temperature. So we have two sections. Because red wines and white wines, as well as sparkling wines, you need different storage.
Got it. So that's how specific it is, right?
Yes, and ideally start big as much as possible, because I know some people they start with like 18 bottles, but you know your wine collection will probably grow over time. You don't need to keep upgrading, and I think go for whatever size that you can have available in your home. Try to fit in the biggest one possible, because your wine collection is probably going to grow.
And of course, when your friends come over, they realize that you have a wine cellar. The number of guests coming to your house will also grow.
Yes, it's true.
So there are people who get the wine cellar, and the ready-made ones, I suppose, and also the bespoke, customized ones.
That's right.
So are there differences between the two sets of buyers?
Well, definitely. For the bespoke and customized collection, we see more F&B owners who are fitting their restaurants with them. But we also see a trend towards landed homeowners or luxury homeowners who wants to convert, say, their basement or entertainment room into a wine cellar.
Okay.
So they really like to go for a full, majestic looking built-in one. And they can gather their friends around for wine tasting sessions and so on.
So somehow, for the homeowners, I suppose some of their buying decision, they take the cues from the F&B outlets. So they may have taken the cues and inspiration from there as well, I suppose.
Yes, and I think nowadays they also find a lot of research online. And you see that Bodega is probably one of the only customized wine cellar solution provider that doesn't involve very messy M&E. You don't need inlet, outlet, and whatsoever. Ours is just plug and play with the option to customize the frames, the interior, the exterior, and so on. So compared to traditional walk-in wine cellar that people used to have, you save at least 50% of the cost.
If what I'm hearing from you is accurate, that means even during the consultation process of buying a wine cellar, you will actually take a look at the overall schematics of the home, where it's going to be placed, what kind of decor, color themes are already around, and then you will advise accordingly.
That's right. We actually do site recce. We go to the consumer's home, find out more of their needs,
you do a site recce?
lifestyle. Yes, of course.
Wow.
So that we can propose the ideal system to go into their homes.
So, now, what are some of the most common questions you get from customers or people who are interested to get started? What are the common questions that you normally get?
Well, I guess it's always asking about the temperature control, whether we have good temperature control, whether we have dual temperatures. And nowadays you see that because most of them are actually wine collectors already, they're asking questions like, whether we can fit in bigger bottles, because a lot of models in the market, they are made to fit standard sizes.
Okay.
So now we offer different storage systems, and with pull-out shelf, so it's very easy for the user to find their favorite bottles.
Okay. Are there scenarios that you would advise someone against getting a wine cellar? That means they have a desire for it, but somehow their home are not suitable for it. Are there such scenarios?
No, I don't think so, because we could always find out where is the ideal position. I think so long as your wine cellar is not stored under direct sunlight or with very bad ventilation area, anywhere is possible. And also we are making our wine cellars very aesthetically pleasing. So it could be in a standalone centerpiece in the room.
So it could be a conversation piece as well.
Exactly. Right. So we could have one which is the size of this, and then it could replace your coffee table.
And you could have one that goes right under a large painting, which we're pairing two conversational pieces on the home together.
That's right.
Speaking about conversational pieces, I can't help but notice you brought some pictures with us, right? For the benefit of our followers. Let's take a look at some of the interesting ones. Actually, all look interesting.
Let's start small. Sure. This is something new that we are offering. It's quite interesting because they are actually cooling pieces. So it's like a picture frame.
Yeah, it looks like a painting. I wanted to say that. So it wasn't. Okay.
It's a wine cooler, definitely. And you can customize the frame as well as the interior, as well as how many bottles you want to store. So nowadays we find that there are young couples who are buying it and placing it in the bedroom so that they could have access to their favorite wines anytime in the
Okay.
privacy of the bedroom and so on.
So every time they take photograph in front of the painting, the painting change, you know?
Yes, it's true.
Depends on who drunk the bottle.
Precisely, and you can actually easily just replace the frame and the interior fitting, so that you have a new look every time.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yep.
Very, very cool.
Yes, and then of course we have something like this. This is like a very unique centerpiece, but it's actually a wine cooler, and you can actually customize the exterior frame.
I noticed there's some soft lighting in it, right?
Yes,
So
you
that was the
can-
LED that you mentioned.
LED, and we can change the colors as well.
okay.
And then you can actually change the different fittings, how you want the bottles to be placed, and so on. And then some customers, they have their prize collection, and we could actually modify the shelving to fit in their centerpiece and so on.
Okay. So you can put it in such a way that the most prized collection get the biggest attention.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. And also depending on their lifestyle, like some of them like the glasses tube as well. So we have a place for wine glasses. And then you see the trend with BTO owners these days to fit in the under-counter wine cellar in the study, in the kitchen, and so on. So it's really opened up as an entertainment area.
this one is, I suppose, suitable for those who are concerned about space, right?
Yes.
Space saving,
Exactly.
small space living. And all
Right,
that.
it's just 60 cm in terms of width, so it goes under the countertop easily.
Very nice.
And also we have this, which is the wine and beverage chiller. So if you are going to store wines, this can store up to 18 bottles, and then you don't have to fight with the wife. The wife can do her beer
Or you can have a mix
sake.
of people who have a taste for alcohol and
Yes.
someone who can't take alcohol.
Precisely.
Right.
And they are dual temperature, so it depends on how you want to chill the beverage and the wine.
So it's inclusive. Nobody gets left out.
Exactly.
No matter what drink you choose, right?
Precisely, and it saves up space in your main fridge for other stuff.
I'm very fascinated in the way all these pieces fit in the current interior design, the cabinetry,
Yep.
without standing out too much, being too
Yes,
loud.
correct.
And it just blends in nicely.
Yes.
So that's basically that's your design philosophy all this while, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, and then of course we have the granddaddy.
Granddaddy.
This is like a true masterpiece, which we fitted in a Sentosa Cove home recently. So the customer actually converted the entertainment area into a wine collection area. So he fitted very nice sittings around it for his monthly wine tasting session and so on.
This is a very huge conversational piece, right?
Yes,
And you call it the granddaddy. Okay.
Yes, this is the Expo collection, and we can actually customize the frame and the look. So this is very, how should I say, very arty look, right?
Yeah,
But we have
yeah.
a very modern fret panel as well, and you can actually customize the colors to fit your interiors or to stand out from your interiors.
Oh, this is interesting. So who's your granddaddy now, huh? And you have one more piece over there.
Oh, this is something that could be used as a freestanding piece or as a built-in piece. So this goes very beautifully into your kitchen, for example, or it could be just freestanding. So they are made for dual purposes. And you see this collection here, which is really interesting because you can store your open bottles. You can decant your wines and leave it there.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is the wine glass rack.
Okay.
So you can hold up to 6 wine glasses and so on. We have dedicated area for different types of wines. And then we have like a taller shelf for your Burgundy bottles and champagnes and what have you.
How long does it take to from paper to delivery? How long does it take to customize?
Some models are already in stocks in Singapore. Say the Reservoir collection, we already have stocks in Singapore. So we just need 1 or 2 days to deliver. For the Expo collection, the Bespoke collection is about 3 months from
3 months.
the date of ordering, because our Italian artisans starts producing or they start assembling only when they receive the orders.
So relatively 3 months, is it a common waiting time, or would people complain 3 months is too long?
No.
And you know, right, Singaporeans can
Yeah.
be quite impatient.
I think it's a reasonable timeline because that's when they start their renovation as well.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
the wine cellar will come in time, and they also need time to prepare the space for the wine cellar to come, because when our wine cellars come, it's very fast. We just fit in. Installation takes half a day.
What about the communication between, because obviously the interior design, the renovation is done by a separate party, right?
Yes.
And then you have the artisans that's going to
Yeah.
customize
That's
the
right.
wine cooler. So how do they talk to one another?
We actually talk directly to the client's contractor to make sure there is no miscommunications and to make sure that all the dimensions are correct, they are building it specifically, and that when our wine sellers come, there is no issues with fitting in. So it's the seamless communications that we try to have with the client's contractors.
And you have developed a framework of
Yes.
kind of like SOP, the whole entire
Exactly,
process. So it's
exactly.
become a smooth sailing for you lah. So
That's
far.
right. Our measurements are very precise, so if they just build according to what we specify, we don't see any issue so far.
Wow, wow. Very interesting.
Yep.
I can definitely think a lot of my friends that would definitely appreciate a wine cellar in their unit. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the usage maintenance, the lifespan, and the specs of the products itself, right? So, do you have some tips for people who are now starting to explore having a wine cellar in their homes? What would be the maintenance tips once they have already purchased one?
I think maintenance for wine cellars is actually quite simple. The important thing to take note is like for all cooling appliances, once you have moved the wine cellar, you have relocated it, do not plug it on immediately after at least 2 to 3 hours.
Why not?
Because there's coolant in the fridge or in the wine cellar, so you need them to settle
Okay.
before you switch it on. Otherwise, there could be irregularity in the
Okay.
cooling system and so on.
So the coolants are fluid based, is it?
Yes, they're fluid
okay.
based.
Okay, makes sense.
And then for the maintenance, basically you just need a damp white cloth to go, through the interior, and then grass cleaner on the glass door. It's actually quite simple.
Okay. Are there any do's and don'ts? I think more on the don'ts, right? For someone who have invested in a quality wine cellar.
Well, I guess don't use it as a fridge.
Yeah, don't put your
use-
cheese and
Exactly. Well, you can,
leftover
you
pizza.
can put in your cigar probably, but don't try it with your durians, with your cheese,
Oh, you
with
can
your
put cigar
meat.
there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
you can. Yeah.
Okay. Good tips. Thank you. What was the most interesting customization request you had from a client?
Few months ago, we fitted a managing director office with 3-meter wide wine cellar as a divider.
As a divider.
As a divider. So between him and the secretary or the assistant.
Alright.
But I guess it makes a very majestic entrance.
So
when you walk
I
in.
suppose the opening is facing him,
Of
not
course,
the assistant,
of
right?
course, of course.
But the assistant might need some also.
Yes.
Yep, having a tough boss to work with.
So you can choose one that can open both sides. That's what we have in the collection as well. But he chose one that faces
Yeah.
him.
Otherwise, at night the secretary will climb over to his side of things and start opening all the
Yes.
fridge. Yeah.
But it makes for a very interesting conversation piece because when people walk into his office, or
Yeah.
to celebrate a new contract that's been awarded, he's actually very happy because he's storing about 240 bottles in there.
240 bottles. Wow, that's a lot of wine.
Yep.
So, what are some of the most interesting places or venues where your wine cellars have been installed in?
They have installed it on in some yacht clubs and some
How about on the yachts?
possible, but I don't see the many
yeah.
people doing it
Yeah, because of the-
correct.
yeah.
But we have a Berlin wine house that we fitted about 15 meter long. Can you imagine the whole stretch and up to 3 meter high?
Wow, that's a
Yep.
huge floor space.
Very
actually.
huge. Yeah, it's very majestic.
Was that the big? Incidentally, that was my next question. Was
Yeah.
that the biggest wine cellar that you built for someone?
Yes.
That was the biggest.
But you could always go bigger because we
Can always go bigger.
Our system are modular,
Okay.
so you can keep expanding.
Okay. Now I'm curious, who was it for? I mean, don't have to say names, but who is that?
Oh no, it's for F&B establishment.
Oh, it's an F&B establishment.
Establishment,
right.
yeah. And
is there
then-
any like homeowners that have an equally big?
Well, the
wine
biggest
cellar?
I think for the wine cellars we fitted in the home is probably 8 units,
8 units.
which is about a meter each. But they are not in a stretch. They are placed in a room. You know how some people have walk-in wine
Yep.
cellar room, right?
Yep.
But nowadays, or rather, this customer he actually dropped the idea when he saw our system. because ours is plug and play. So he actually cut down a lot of costs on the installation, on the M&E.
Less wiring as well.
Exactly, and he fit it all around the room. And because some of our wine cellars are see-through, and like what you said, you can access from the front and the back. So he actually formed a very nice, area with the 8 wine chillers.
Wow. So I would say that the one with the biggest wine cellar at home, that's usually where's the party at, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the biggest compliment you have ever received from a client?
Well, I guess it's always nice when they say, oh, Serene, I really love your wine cellar. They are so beautiful. It's not only functional, but they're aesthetically pleasing. So some of them actually use them as the centerpiece. Like for example, we recently fitted the NCO crowd, and they use our reservoir collection as the centerpiece in the stats room.
Wow.
So it's very beautiful, especially when the place is dark. Then you turn on the lights inside, and then it's shining on all the very nice
And
labels.
automatically it pulls the attention of everyone in the room,
And then
right?
people walk in and say, "What's this?" So
When we talk about wine cellar, essentially it is still an appliance, even though it's plug and play. How long is the warranty period, and how long it's supposed to last?
depending on the models, right? Some we offer up to 3 years warranty. And in terms of lifespan, I would say the minimum would be 5 to 8 years. Minimum.
That's a conservative number, I suppose,
yes.
right? Okay.
So far, for the last 1.5 years in Singapore, we have not received any requests for servicing and so far. So I think that's a very good indication of the quality of our wine cellars.
Yeah, and it's definitely assuring as well. That you haven't had a single one.
No, not a single service request so far.
Okay. So, and how long do you expect it to last? Because 5 to 8 years is the minimum that you expect, right? But would you expect it to be able to stretch to decades, like 2 decades?
I'm not surprised to do for that to happen, because like the Expo collection, they are all made with very high quality materials to withstand the humidity in Asia. And that's also one point that we actually talk to our European manufacturers, because they have 4 seasons there, right? We don't. It's only hot and hotter, right? So even the electronics, the motherboard and whatsoever, we make sure that they're tropicalized. All the wear and tear parts, they are usually reinforced for this weather.
Nice, very good. Now, alluding back to the middle of this interview where you mentioned that there's some promotions going on.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure our followers will like to find out, at least some of them, right? At least quite, I would say a lot of them will probably be interested to find out what's the promotion that's going on right now.
Right now we are offering a 20% discount off the Reservoir collection for Renault Talk customers.
20% of the Reservoir collection?
Yes. Okay, so you can just go to our website at bodegaliving.com, just key in Renault Talk, and then you have a 20% direct discount.
Okay.
For the Expo collection, drop us an email. We'll be very happy to meet up at your place to discuss how we could fit the wine cellar into your home or office.
All right, thank you. It has been a very interesting interview. You definitely know your stuff very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So this has been a 618 show, Experts Edition. So you have heard quite a bit about wine cellar. Don't forget to take advantage of the 20% discount for those of you who are interested in having your own wine cellar at home, right? So check out our 618 show and follow our social media accounts, as well as follow Bodega Living on their own social media account,
Facebook and Instagram.
We will include that. We will include those links in our post later. Right, so this has been a very interesting episode. Thank you so much. So this has been Sabah from Renault Talk, and she is
Serene from Bodega Living.
Thank you so much. Tune in to the next episode. Take care.
Thank you.